Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Echoes of Ragnarok. We are back for episode 4, which is really, really cool. We had a really great session last time, and we're looking forward to another great session this time. You may notice we are once again down a player. Our wonderful Fractured Plays, or Ulf Sigurdsson, is experiencing a bit of internet trouble and is not able to join us, unfortunately. However, we are continuing on, and his character will be around, and we'll be back next session. Once again, before we get started, I would like to remind you that this is all made possible by our wonderful friends at Arkenforge and Green Ronin Publishing. So Green Ronin, of course, make the Age system, which we are running today. And if you would like to get your hands on any of the Age system properties, including Fantasy Age, Modern Age, Blue Rose, or Dragon Age, including PDFs, go and check out the Green Ronin web store, and you can use code METALGM to get 5% off any purchase. With the same code, you can also get $5 off the Arkenforge toolkit, which you can use to make your own TTRPG maps, such as the one we used in our last session. I made all of that with Arkenforge, and I made the one that we could be using tonight, but unfortunately, my connection has also decided to screw me, so we are probably going to be going with a lovely Theatre of the Mind tonight.
Theatre of the Mind!
Theatre of the Mind. We're going old school. But with that all said, we are going to jump in to our next episode of Echoes of Ragnarok. So, in our last session, the party having the Battle of the Boasts rudely interrupted by a group of seemingly crazed bandits or street thugs. Quite cleanly dealt with these bandits. Though a few knocks were taken. Upon defeating them, you took one of them back to Eric's surgery for inspection, while Ada also took one off for a ritual of her own. Upon a somewhat of an autopsy, and a bit of arcane checking, you found that there was nothing physically wrong, nor was there any enchantment on this body. But you did find markings on the body, leading you to believe that this thug and a few of the others, at least, were members of a smaller street gang within Varthengard known as the Razor Runners. As all of you are healed and have returned to your homes, have you returned to your homes, or would you have stayed at Eric's?
Nah, I'm going home.
Okay.
Depending on, like, if the vibes were like, oh no, we're all gonna sleep, it's like, nah, I'm going home.
Eric was starting. Ada did her like weird drawing thing, and then was like, "Oh, daytime people," and then because they had been up all night, would wander off back home, checking on the peeps and letting them back free in the city.
Cool. So you all make your way home. As each of you leave, throughout the night, as you are sitting up, Eric, Ulf you hear Ulf, who's been sort of sleeping in the back of your surgery. He gets up and he seems just restless. You've been listening to him. He's sort of tossed and turned a bit as he gets up, and you hear him just sort of get up. He grabs his bow, grabs his weapons, and just lumbers over towards the door.
Going for a walk. I call out for him.
He stops, hand resting on the door handle, looks back. He sort of says, just need some air.
Well, you know where to find me. Keep yourself out of trouble, and be easy on the wounds, would you? Hate to stitch you back up again.
Yeah, all good. So he walks out, grabs the door handle and slams it behind him. As you're sitting in your surgery at your desk, what are you doing?
Honestly, since it's now the end of the festival of Sigablut, he actually pulls out his ledger, and he begins to count from the dates how many patients he's actually seen throughout the entire year. And by the end of it, he has probably seen about 800 maybe plus people, and he probably just sighs to himself, and as he just begins to talk to himself, just 867 patients. Pretty good year, Mum. Maybe I can try to double it for next year. I miss you. Hopefully, I'll be as good as you one day. Happy Sigablut, Mom.
You take this moment as you're looking down at the ledger, and these memories that flow through your mind, that they're happy memories. You have, of your childhood home, sitting with your mother teaching you her skills as a surgeon, her ability to heal. But there's, now as you look at it, there's this odd tint to it almost. Like this almost bluish grey tint. Like you're looking at it through ice. Like this sort of thin sheet of ice. And as you're watching, you feel, almost for a moment, there's this brush of cold wind, like a breath, across the back of your neck.
I turn around just to have a look around to see if there was anyone else there with me and to see any potentially open windows or anything like that.
As you turn, there's a flinch for a moment as you see just from the corner of your eyes, you're turning around, there's the brief flash of movement. But as you sort of flinch and turn fully, you see one of your curtains just gently in the breeze from the window at the back of the room.
Bloody losing it. I need sleep. I just go up to the curtains and I draw them all to make sure I have a little bit of darkness as it's getting to be the wee hours of the morning. just trying to shake off that feeling. And I'm probably gonna go to my bed and try to get that little bit of sleep before the sun inevitably wakes me up again.
Yeah. Cool. As so you close up the windows. It doesn't seem to be anything outside. Far off, like hearing out the window, you hear further down. There's the telltale sound of a very drunk man wandering home. Just the tone deaf, just sort of humming, lulling of a drunk man. But there doesn't seem to be any sort of anyone out just like directly outside the window as you close it and pull the curtains. Make your way off to bed. Hugo.
Ooh.
As you return home, you tell me what your forge or like what your workshop, like your home looks like.
So I imagine it's more of a renovated section of a warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
So less of a home, more of a, those office buildings you have inside of warehouses, and you look up at them, it's like they're right in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
He has like a small office thing that is his home in the corner. And there are, like, as you open the doors, it's a decently hefty lock, opens it up, and most things on the wall, things are stacked up quite neatly, but then you just see piles of little things that he's maybe done, like intricate bits, or just some twisted metal that's around. It could be indistinguishable, but they look really, really well done. But then there's always, you look in and there's like, there might be a scratch, or there's something wrong with it, or there's a wrong measurement and it's just been tossed to the ground.
Yeah. It's the, what was it? Like all of the tools are beautifully organized, but then there's just a bucket of old parts. You're like, I can't get rid of these because I might need them one day, sort of thing.
Yeah, much like that. And like bits that he's tried to make and something's gone wrong with them, and it's like, no, they're not perfect. Throws them in the bin. Throws them to the ground, moves on, leaves them there until he's able to make a perfect one of it.
Cool.
And you see him, he probably kicks things out of the way as he gets to it, having the forge on the left and like a large metal workbench. And probably not even like walled off, or not even like with a door, it's just a wall. And then it's just where he sleeps and the area where he keeps all of his stuff. And he just walks in, coat, big hefty leather coat, chuck on a hook that he's like fabricated out of the wall. So workshop clean, production a bit OCD, but in his own home, like when in this spot where he's able to be whatever he wants to be, it's a bit messy.
Cool.
And he's just going to fall down on his back. As you see the smile on his face, and he just goes, and he's going to close his eyes and try and just go to unconsciousness.
Cool.
Damn, we're all depressed.
Some
maybe Ada's actually not. Ada's fine.
Yeah, Ada's great. She's just creepy.
And you
Creepily cool.
Creepy cool.
Delightfully violent.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you make your way back into your home, flopping down to your bed to drift off to sleep. Ada.
Ada counts the bags of stolen purses. 837.
This woman just like achieved in a night what I did like in like a year. Granted, it's different things, but still.
Even higher. Oh no, just slightly lower. Damn.
But when she comes back, some of the people are milling about, and she goes to a little altar but it's an altar to Njord. And she just like casually just puts some beer, like some mead next to it, and it seems very haphazard, but less committed, but more like, this is the good side of the sea. I'll give you some things, but I'm not really scared of you because you're kind of nice. And then she kind of like, ruffles a few kids on the head, and then like goes upstairs to one of her various sleeping places. I'm sure she has all over the place.
Yeah, sorry for a second.
Is it puppy?
Weaver's sitting in the corner, and Ada kind of goes, "Oh, you can leave today now."
Weaver is not there.
Weaver's not there. Oh no.
As you like
He's still running.
turning around, like there's a number of your boys that are still not home yet, which is not uncommon. You see far off to the far end of the room, Radisok sort of walks in, still like you see him as he walks into the room, and he like goes to like keep to the wall, and then is like walks sort of into the middle of the room and starts just looks so awkward. Like it's just and about as he wanders in, just a moment, I've got to find myself here. The far end of the room, you see the door just sort of lulls open, and Olga sort of sways in. She's got, sort of a slight sort of flush to her cheeks and her nose. Her shoes are in her hand. And she's just looks very Cloud 9 right now.
You had a good night.
She reaches to the back of her dress with a very wide grin and throws a bag onto the table in front of you that is by a sizable chunk the largest on the table. She turns around and says, "Those young heirs just don't know what they have." Did you have a good night? I saw a bit of rowdy action going on, but I left with the others, of course.
It was peculiar. People are generally in a good mood in Sigablood. Haven't seen that kind of outsparking. Did you see anything else happening around town at all in your travels, or was it seemed contained to the one place?
No. It didn't seem to be much on at all. There were a lot of the, afterwards, of course, a lot of the young boys that I was playing with, didn't seem to want to go back to their rooms, as whatever kerfuffle had spooked them a bit, but also there seemed to be very few guards in the upper districts. It seems they'd all rushed down to see what the commotion was about. As they do, nothing happens in the upper districts.
Ada takes her bag, takes the community cart, and throws her the rest.
She catches the bag, looks and just says, "You do treat me so well." she wanders off and like lays
Performance.
lays down on her bed and just sort of like still fully dressed, but like does the full like gets
The
her
comfy wiggle.
Yeah.
Ada goes, that sounds like a diversion to me. And most of her boys are probably tired. Goes to Eric's and goes to fetch Hugo. And wants to go see if she can see if anything happened up in the upper quarters that was missed due to the destruction of all the guards coming down.
Sure.
To the incident.
How many hours do you wait before you come and get us?
I just come and get you.
You show up like 1 hour after we go to sleep.
I'd say
You're
this
like,
is
hey, we need to investigate.
This is probably a few hours later. Like this is
She'll stop by the roasted pig place and get some of the god awful coffee from the molten pig.
Oh, you know me too well.
We'll drink.
Good. Otherwise, I feel like he would have spiked something in your drink later. Just how dare you?
You like knock on Hugo's door and a slit opens up above. There's no eyes, and it looks he's made a smaller slit down lower so that he could look through it. It's just attached by a little lever.
He just punches a hole in the door at eye level.
Here's Johnny.
I feel like there's just a little string that's attached to both of them, and as you slid one, the other one goes through. So they're just looking here, and it's like down here.
The bottom. What do you want, mate?
Kneel.
It's like 11 o'clock in the morning.
It's the crack of noon.
But she does leave her boys with the instructions of when they've had some sleep and recovered, that she kind of wants them to scatter throughout the city and try and pick up any intel about different areas.
I see. Okay, fuck off. I go back and I take the coffee and I go back into the warehouse. I don't leave for like 20 minutes and I come out looking like shit anyway.
So it's been like at this stage, like at this stage, Ada's like made it back, waited for most of her boys to get back, counted the money, gone through it all. So it's like it's been a couple hours at this stage. But you head past the molten peg, and get at this point, Bo hands out, like he hands over, it's like this small, like a hot sauce bottle almost of this just pitch black like ink liquid.
Echo.
Yeah. He is at this stage just calling it pig ink.
Thank you. Writing that down is my favorite drink.
And sort of just hands it over and is like, and you're making your way to, where are you heading first?
I want to kind of head into the areas that she'd said, because the upper areas that she said that those heirs were spooked from going back to. And because there were very few guards, because they'd all been drawn in to the other space. So she wants to kind of like sniff about to see if there was a diversion, and if any information for her could be gained, or any information for Eric's contacts could be gained for her to be able to utilize for her own advantage.
So you head up into sort of the upper districts of Vathengarda. In this area is the main thing that you notice that changes, beyond the idea that the roads become, a bit not necessarily cleaner, but they do become like better setup. Like a lot of where you're from, it's like dirt roads, still compact. A lot of it's just compacted dirt and sand. Whereas moving up here, you get more sort of like solid stone cobbled roads. But the main difference is in the architecture. You go from these very sort of bare timber warehouses and small huts to these large polished sealed wood townhouses almost, and various sort of like double-story buildings, a lot of lighting in the streets. As you make your way through the streets, you notice that the guards seem to have returned at this stage. There's a small guard presence around. But you notice that there does seem to be, while there are a few people still, out on porches or in balconies and such like that, there's not a lot going on in the street at the moment. And while it is still early morning, you'd expect that there's some level of revelry that would still be going on around this area.
That's interesting. They're not partying like they should be.
I find your lack of party disturbs me.
Your lack of party disturbs
From what you can see and from what you can tell, I'll say, like, you gathered that there's a lot of people that seem to have taken their parties inside. They've taken their party and they've gone home. Like, essentially, there's a lot of house parties going on at the moment rather than...
Knowing her kind of like a dilettante knowledge, was there any like main spot where the party would normally be occurring right now that it's not because of these house parties pulling inside, that would make something a little bit more vulnerable?
You would know that, like, and this would be the main area that you're in as well, because it would be the main area that you'd expect activity. There is, especially during Sigablot, and during these sort of festivals, there are areas of the upper districts that are reserved for, I don't know what the proper word would be, but like visitors, shall we say. They are like, they're, what do you call them? They're like Airbnbs.
Like a tourist spot?
Yeah, they're essentially like, they are reserved to essentially go, these are like high paying like Airbnb or like residential buildings for, high value guests from other areas. So that you get a lot of people who are here for business. A lot of these young heirs that Olga mentioned, here to spend their parents' fortune, essentially. They would be staying in these sorts of buildings. And normally, once essentially, if the tavern kicks them out, they will just take to drinking in the street around these areas, because who's going to stop them? That is not happening in this moment. You gather it's like something has spooked. Something has spooked them at this stage, and everyone is just keeping to... You can hear what essentially sounds like akin to frat parties happening inside houses. Like, but nothing, there's not that much in the streets.
It was Olga.
It was Olga all along.
A final boss.
Olga all along.
And are we all there, or is this Ada and we're catching up?
I think Ada at this stage has gone off on her own.
Nah, I'm sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
Don't bother me.
I bought coffee to wake you guys up shortly.
Yeah. Let me
If I
sleep a
found
bit.
anything.
Let me sleep more.
I'll be awake.
Ada's just gonna try and see. Hopefully, if my dexterity doesn't get me killed, to try and maybe climb up somewhere to see if she can get like an overview of the area to be able to notice anything.
Do something cool or fall down.
I'm
Either
Roll
way,
me-
it'll be funny.
Roll me
5 to 7
a
minutes to go show
stealth check, please.
A stealth check.
Or
Is that
just
a
it's
dexterity?
just a dexterity check. You can add stealth. Oh, that's my thing now. I'm really annoyed that this isn't a proper touchstone. But...
14.
14.
Do the thing.
Cool. So you find a spot. There's a building on the corner. It appears to be akin to a gift shop. Essentially, it is, you know, like quite literally, it's like what you would find in Melbourne City. It's selling like, you know, keepsakes of Vartangarda, and it is just kitsch. Like it is, yeah. As you make your way around the side, you see a stack of crates and, you know, a series of pipes on the side of the building that make a fairly easily climbed path up onto the roof. And from there you have essentially it's like a from the top of a second story view of the area around you. What are you looking for?
Ada is very good at seeing things that don't belong in spaces, and I guess that's what she's kind of looking for. Like, and it might something that doesn't belong doesn't necessarily always stand out, but like something that shouldn't be there, or given the fact that she's a little bit paranoid, shadows that just aren't quite right.
Cool. Roll me a perception check, please.
May I use seeing?
Of course, yes.
I don't know, they feel like a bit of a cheat code, really.
Seeing really is like a just an in case all sort of thing. Like,
What do your elf eyes see, Ada?
You know where I'm from, it's just called eyes.
I can smell color.
Oh my god, she's autistic.
Sorry?
I mean,
16.
You.
Oh my gosh, she is.
Looking over the area, like, the main thing that sticks out to you, again, as you saw before, that there is nothing happening. Like, this is a space that there should at least be, you know, young hooligans walking the streets drunkenly, singing at the top of their lungs, drinking and, you know, throwing stuff at the very least. And you see like one or two people wandering around at this stage. You see at one point, it doesn't strike you at first until it's sort of, because it's not entirely what you're looking for. Because you are looking at going, okay, where are the shadows? What is hiding? What is in the... And then you see a sight that is... You suddenly recognize as odd, but it is a person who is just strolling straight down the center of the road. Just hands behind his back, casually, like a Sunday morning, just strolling down the middle of the road.
It's an old man, get him!
You went, oh man, I'm like, that's the local kingpin drug dealer right there.
The casualness that this person is walking down the middle of this street is very unnerving to Ada, and she is currently wishing that she had gone and got them first, rather than being now feeling very, very alone
Mhm.
with this person.
Speaking of being alone, it has been 5 to 10 minutes, so I'm going to say Hugo shows up because I said he'd show up within 5 to 10.
Woo!
He just ends up finding you, just like, hey, ah!
Like you see this guy walking just casually down, and he's like 100 meters down the road, just like dragging himself with a coffee.
You are like, yeah. So you, I will say that Hugo, at about this point, you walking down the road. It is early. Like it is still that like there is fog on the ground. Like hazing around streetlights. Yeah, there is that chill in the air that only occurs way too early in the morning.
You can't even see him. He's covered by the fog. Like everyone else, it's like foot high. They're walking through it. You just see at the top of his head.
You can just you can just see the trail in the top of the fog. Like
people in Melbourne and Hobart are like, yes, I feel that.
I put my hand on my head and start going.
Damn it.
I resemble that remark. He has a little backpack with one of like the tour guide flags on it, so he doesn't get lost.
You know what? He has one of them just so people can ask him questions, and he sends them in the wrong direction. It's 100% a counterfeit flag that he's just made, but tourists don't know.
Anyway,
it's part of his morning entertainment.
Walking down the road, very early. There's a heavy chill in the air. As you come to a crossroads. You stop and look around, like, as you turn looking down one of the streets, you see a figure, this tall, thin.
I don't like him.
Almost like spidery figure. There's this brief moment that, you catch that you're sort of thrown off for a moment as he is just starkly pale. He is almost to the point of being like quite literally chalk white.
Eric, what are you doing out this early? Oi, Eric, what are you doing? Wait, you're not Eric, are you?
Eric's just like at home, like just snoring, drool coming out of his mouth, just somehow off the bed, like his legs still there, but he looks like he's doing like the weirdest drunk yoga you've ever seen.
No wonder he's always sore and in pain. Jesus Christ.
Just
some Pilates or something.
I'm just thinking
this is Pilates.
I'm just thinking of I was just thinking of the scene in what was it, the scene in The Hobbit with Bofa when he's like the trumpets are going and he's like, by my beard, is that the time?
Once again, this show with tone. Ada and Hugo.
Yeah.
Creepy, terrifying man. Meanwhile,
it's always one of us.
So
it's always me, just
you're not Eric.
This figure, as he approaches, you see he wears this sort of long black coat with this draped hood over his head. He appears to be bald. There's a very long, thin face and pale eyes. Appears elven, from what you can tell. As he approaches, he just seems to pause, looks down, and just bows his head to you.
I like weirdly lean back a little bit, bows my head a little bit to him. Or like, no, actually, I'll lean my head back and go, good morning.
Good morning to you. It is. Seems odd. But then again, we are very close to Niflheim.
Are we? Yeah, I know that. Fuck, it's too early for this shit. Oh, well, good morning, mate. Have a good one. I'll walk off.
And to you. Take care.
Ada, like, kind of, like, comes down from behind? I'm assuming he's past her and...
He just keeps walking. You notice that, I'll say
She calls
Ada,
out, she says cousin.
as he's walking, you notice he is looking down, like, alleyways, quite thematically. Like, it is every single gap between houses he is peering down in a sort of a... as he's watching.
She's like, what are you looking for, cousin?
He pauses, and his head, so he turns slowly, to face you. He says, I thought I felt something. A change. Something. Shift. I may have been wrong. But I really am.
Pants.
Ada, can Ada describe what she's seen?
How
Is
do
she
you...
capable of doing that? The thing that she's seen in the shadows.
Oh no, this is not him.
No, I'm saying is she capable of somewhat describing him to this person?
Perhaps do you still have the drawing, maybe?
Oh.
You can use as a reference?
Or maybe if she can bring up like one of her not quite right.
If not,
You are, like, I would say at this point, you are perfectly, like, you can attempt to describe it if you would like.
Yeah, Ada goes, do you mean things like this? And describes the creature from the shadows.
He sort of tilts his head thoughtfully, and as his face shifts, you can see these very thin, faint lines in his skin, like somewhere between tattoos and scarification. As he looks, he says, no, that does not seem familiar here. But I've hear something went amiss here.
Something's not right.
No.
And I don't know what it is.
There's an odd discordance. A tune that doesn't fit the song. I felt it before, but it seems to have ended. I was trying to find it again, but it doesn't. Refuses to play.
What happens when it does play?
It doesn't sound like it should. Like it's trying to be something it was, or should be. But it can't be. Or maybe it was something that was out of place. Something that was where another should be. But I can't tell. he points this like long, almost like spidery finger back the way he came, and he said, "It was back there, I think. I'd hoped it had just gotten away from me, but I can't seem to find it again."
What will you do if you find it?
I just want to know what it is. These haphazard tunes are rare in this grand symphony.
If I run into you again, what would I call you?
He smiles and bows his head as he goes, "Olag Thrausk. I apologize for my tardiness on manners there."
Ada, from the Sea Clan.
One of the Logunga. Excellent. Interesting to find one of yours so far from the ocean.
When the ocean laps on the doors of so many cities, you get curious of all the different places you can see and that she can connect you to.
You are said to tie yourselves to Njord, if I'm not mistaken.
The sea has many faces. We pay honor to all of them.
He smiles and bows his head again, almost reverently at this stage, as he holds out his arms, and you see glistening like silver in the moonlight down his forearms. You see these tattooed or scarified effigies that they are almost like totems. Like they look like sort of sketched out human totems that you realized both being, what would you call it? They appear very similar, though they are one is clearly a male and the other a female. Both similar hair, very sort of wild, natural looking, and quite beautiful in that sort of wild forest nymph sort of way. It would not be much to recognize by someone who's studied and has all that. They are effigies to the twins Freyr and Frey. So he smiles and he says, "Then it seems we are family in more than one way, cousin." You would be aware on top of this all that Freyr and Frey are the children of Njord.
Uh-huh.
What, pray tell, brings you out here tonight?
Some very strange things have happened tonight at Stiggerblood. My friends and I were enjoying the last vestiges of the festival at a fairly well-known tavern in the lower districts, when all of a sudden there was an attack by a group of people that doesn't make sense that they would do it. They're thugs, but they're not stupid. And they also seem to be almost berserkerish. No real control, just forward in attack. No real sensical nature to it. We cut them down pretty quickly, but one of my contacts was up in this area last night and let me know it was all the guards had left this area to go deal with the issue that we had fought, and my brain went, well, what a nice way to get the guards out of the upper area. I wonder what really was going on and what happened up here. So I wanted to come and see, because information is power, and knowing what's happening in the city better than the people who run it is always useful.
I see. Yes. Perhaps we can help each other. It seems fortuitous that we should find each other, kindred in our goals, in our blood. Perhaps you seem keen of senses. Perhaps you can see something I have missed.
Ava will, knowing, also comforted that Hugo's there, as silly as it is, but that there's someone else there with her with this.
You just
obviously
hear slurping underneath the fog.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can't see him. He's there.
It's just this moment as you're standing like thigh deep in fog and chatting with this elf, and suddenly in the background there's just this.
Standing in front of this obviously ancient elf who could probably, if he really wanted,
the weird music man. Just like, Jesus Christ, a fucking gremlin.
just like cut off her head if he really wanted to.
They just guessed the fact that I was just like, yep, I'm definitely just standing there listening to this shit. Just like...
Ada is
you gotta find your soap somewhere.
Yeah, this is entertaining.
Ada's gonna cross her legs and sit down into the fog and close her eyes and attempt to shut off all her senses but her hearing. And try and... because she also knows the sounds of the city very, very, very well.
Loud slapping.
And she also... Hugo loves slapping very well. She does pick up a rock from the road, and yes, drops it and goes, shh. And goes, shh.
Who said that?
Give me one moment. And she wants to plant, but the same plant her hands into the ground and just listen.
Cool. Roll me a perception check, please.
Can I use hearing?
You can use hearing.
Yeah.
Go lose the side of Ada in the fog.
Yeah, funny, the lot of you.
Yay!
Also, real quick, just while it's going, I did see just before, Che Gavesa, thank you for the sub, and RPG Mum, thank you very much for the sub. It's very kind of you.
My wife.
Thank you,
My wife.
and thank you for the hype train. Lovely.
Double 4s and a 1, a 4 on, so that's 8, 9. What's that? 14 plus What can I use with these? See if this can. Would this be an exploration
Yeah,
font?
It's
Or
be
a-
exploration.
I would like to use three.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me wonder. To see if one of her other senses picks up something peculiar. So I have to roll another perception test.
Just so you hear as you sit and listen, all around you there are the sounds of, as I mentioned before, like there is the revelry within houses. There is, various shouts and woos and chants from different houses, the clinking of glasses, there's thumping and various sounds. There are people, you hear with a smirk several people doing like very drunken recitals of the Earl of Gout speech. Because
everybody was there.
Everyone was there.
Like Woodstock. No, everybody was there.
Yeah.
It's if they weren't there, it's spreading like wildfire now.
It's Woodstock, it's Mephisto, it's Marbo, it's the vibe.
If they weren't there, they were still there.
Yeah. If they weren't there, they knew someone that was. As you listen, you hear this around you, and you notice further back, like I assume if you're facing Olag, further back behind you, there's this moment as you hear something that's not necessarily a noise in itself, but it is almost an absence. Like there is a silence.
There's nothing.
There.
Yeah.
It is not. It is this moment of like, in almost every house around you, there is something. But further back down, there's almost this just pocket that you're like, that is either an empty lot or there's nothing happening in that room.
A disturbing case of nothingness.
Yeah.
Has Eric gotten the note and their coffee shot yet? Or are they still...
I would say at about this point, Eric would show up.
Just
to see their doppelganger standing in the middle of the room.
Ow! Which way you going, mate?
oh Jesus.
Who?
No, that's a word I'd say when I'm tired.
It's Hugo. It's Hugo.
Hugo.
Jesus, that's a terrible name. Oh my god.
Ada stands up.
Pain my ass.
And says, I'm quite glad someone with a little magic is here.
As you turn, like, Eric, you see this elven man standing in front of you. As his head sort of turns and tilts towards you, he says, "Oh, yes, I do apologize. Your friend was here a moment ago." And looks down and eventually finds the outline of Hugo in the fog. Is like, "Yes,
up, down here,
yes,
down here, mate."
I
tiny hand.
apologize. My name is Olaug. And you are?"
Depressed.
Sorry.
Excellent.
Eric, nice to meet you. And I
Lovely.
stretch out my hand to shake his hand.
He reaches out with this very slow, purposeful reach. Slow, purposeful movements as his hand closes around yours, and he gives a very reserved handshake as he just smiles and bows his head.
I kind of like mirror his like reservedness as well. And I looked down at Ada and Hugo. Just, it's a lot easier to find you in the fog if you're not actively hiding in it.
I'm not hiding.
With you, you're always hiding.
I will kneecap you.
Ada stands up and goes, "The absence of anything right now is weird," and points to the building. And kind of just like on this like undeniable desire of the unknown of her nature, just unconsciously starts walking towards it. Like just, that cool thing over there that could possibly be horrendously dangerous.
Why is no one in this town ever fucking normal? And I just keep following her.
Well, lovely to meet you, Ologi. See you around.
So the Olog sort of turns and is not like doesn't look to you, just keeps looking on ahead. This smile grows in his face. He's like, "Oh no, this tune is growing far too interesting for me to walk away now."
Tune?
Oh, wonderful! Let's go. Let's have a gander then, shall we?
What tune? There's nothing here.
Oh,
No
yeah,
music.
the pressed one here. He's tone deaf. Don't even worry about him.
Are you referring to me or him? I'm confused.
I just keep walking.
As you keep walking, Oleg like follows after you, but as he walks, says, "Actually, that one's melody is quite interesting."
Eric is just going to eye him very warily and just kind of nods, pretending like he understands, and then just takes a very subtle step a bit further away from him.
Hugo's just gonna look at him like, "You're a fucking weirdo." I like it, and walks off.
Walking down the road, you come to the section, essentially a house on the corner, then essentially the next corner. That as you approach it, you look up and the lights are on. The inside's lit up, but having a look around, you see movement in the other houses. You can see people, even just people wandering around, or the turning of a page, or some sort of movement inside. This house is still.
Could I, can Eric stop, close his eyes, and using his old training from his childhood, from his previous occupation, can he try to stretch out and try to sense if there's any intelligent life in there, if there's anyone inside? So I'm going to use the spell Sense Minds.
Okay. Can you...
This sounds like it's going to be horribly dangerous. It could horribly backfire, and he's smiling.
Can you tell me what that... Can you tell me the wording of that spell, please?
Yep. You stretch out your awareness to sense the presence of other minds. If casting roll succeeds, you sense the presence or absence of other minds, creatures with an intelligence rating.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to be intelligent within 100 yards. So I'm just gonna, I can approximate their number and general type, so I can sense if they're an animal or a person or approximate location. A mind shield test greater than my casting roll allows that creature to go undetected. So if they're actively trying to shield themselves from me,
mm-hmm.
And they succeed against my roll, I cannot sense them.
The concern I have there is the term absence of, which suddenly I'm now wondering, is it
Detect brain.
Am I now thinking, is it just detect brain?
I mean, you can word it like that.
Sounds like it.
I think
But
it's
like,
more
is the
just...
question if someone is, say, for example, dead?
Does
True.
it tell if
They
someone...
wouldn't be
Good
there,
point,
right?
good point.
But if they
I
were
will say,
unconscious,
here's what I will say. Here's how I will word it for right now.
Mhm.
As you pause and you extend your sort of senses around you, you're reaching out with your arcane senses. You sense a lot of minds around you. Like there is, even in like the buildings elsewhere nearby, you sense very, very active minds. As you push towards the building, like you push this and focus your energies on this building, inside there is one mind, as far as you can tell. It is still. You are I will say in this case, because I'll have to have a proper look at the spell and have to ask some people about wording, possibly.
No worries.
The joys of having connections with the people who write the goddamn rules.
I knock on the door.
So you feel, you do sense the presence of a mind inside. It is still to the point that you gather it is either unconscious or it is dead.
It's like, there's someone inside. Like, I open my eyes and say, and also, just a quick thing, Dragyn, thank you for giving me that, but in future, I do have to roll for that thing to succeed. But thank you for giving
apologies.
it to me.
Good.
I appreciate it.
That's right, you need to do a
let
casting
you know.
roll anyway, so yeah, all good.
Thank you for the free information.
I'm so used to, like, just with these sorts of spells, I'm so used to them just being a thing that...
I just feel like you're so excited by the potential of that spell in this house that you're like,
I just think it was also like, I think I was too caught up in the ideal of it being like, I need to figure out how to say this and what I actually need to give you, because on one side you could sense nothing, or on the other side you could sense things.
Yeah. So, thank you. But thank you for the information. I just want to let you know I do have to roll for that.
You're most welcome. I apologize. Well, I don't apologize, but you know,
I just say thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Like, nah, really? Someone's in there with the lights on.
I step on your foot.
Boom, boom, boom.
Ada, like, just make sure that her crossbow's loaded and that, like, she's very superstitious right now.
Why are you like this?
Because when I was born, I grew a pair.
Hey,
bang, bang, bang.
The Olag sort of leans down.
I wish it was a pair of brain cells. I really do.
Olag leans down as he goes, "It's all right. This chamber is quite silent at the moment."
Well, someone's gonna have to open the bloody door. I can't let it be the dwarf.
The door.
Oh.
I try to open the door.
The door is locked.
Is there a window around the front?
Yeah.
Within reach of a dwarf.
It's about like just sort of eye level with you. You know, you're peering in. You're the neighbor from Home Improvement. You know, like.
I'm gonna try and open the window.
Hello, I'm talking to me about your cart's extended warranty.
So you're trying to open the window?
Yep.
The window is also locked.
I look at Ada, just like, you're the criminal.
Any of you two know how to unlock a bloody door?
I mean, actually, no, I do. Never mind. Give me a second. He sighs
Did Eric
and
just forget that he knew how to do something?
Shut up! It's still early.
Eric, a bit of a tip. I get people to do things for me. Oh, no, I
You
actually
know a
do.
guy who can unlock a door, Ada?
Yes.
Yeah.
Funnily enough.
Hey. Hi, I'm here. I'm gonna attempt to lockpick the door.
Okay. Roll it.
Ooh. Stunt die. Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop.
I am so cool. That is a
You can
13.
think that.
I am cool. How dare you?
13.
Easily.
Cool. You.
Look, I thought the dwarf was just going to go through the door, so this is
Just-
much more subtle.
Like, just you
This
see
is
like
a
the door on
fine
the other
piece
side.
of
and it just goes,
architecture right here. Why would I mess up somebody's door?
Fairly easily,
For the
you
lols.
take out your tools and like fiddling with the tumblers in the lock. You sort of feeling through the tumblers. They turn over fairly easily. There's something odd in the way that they turn as you're essentially as you're like lockpicking the door. There's something that seems off about the way generally about like how easy it is to turn these with your lockpicks at the moment. You realize as the tumbler clicks over, you hear the of the door unlocking. As the door just creaks open slightly, you recognize that this door has been lockpicked before.
Huh.
Quite possibly very recently.
And someone tried to haphazardly put the lock back in place.
No.
That's even no. It's still just complete.
It is
almost
still
completely
like
loose.
essentially think of it. It's like the grooves that you needed, the movements, the movements that you've pushed through. Those movements have been done very recently, to the point that it's like those areas have been worn down a little
Like
bit.
on ice skaters when you have the tracks.
Okay.
So kind of like whatever this place was the target while there was a distraction.
I I just kind of like push open the door and try to look around very cautiously.
Cool. You peering into the room, like looking around. Roll me a perception check, please.
Can I do searching as my thing? Because I'm
You
going to
can,
try to
indeed.
actively search for my potential patient, because this person could be unconscious. And I have a job to do.
I love Eric.
Thank you.
I'm a first responder. No, darling, you work for the mob.
It's Eric is just Hymgard's Dr. House. Like, really. Like,
Look, my clinic is public. I work for the mafia. I'm basically the EMT of this place. Do you know how many people show up on my doorstep every cigablet because some guy cracked his toe open on the fireplace? I am the EMT.
No. Hugo just wondering, like, why are you exactly quoting what happened last week to me? Why am I the example?
Cool. What did you get?
I got a 7.
A7. Cool.
Yes.
Looking around the room, like as you push open the door, peering in, there's this short corridor in the middle. There's a couple of coats hanging along the hallway. It seems to open up into a small, like, living area. Just past that, you don't see anybody, but you do see on the ground, like, everything seems quite neat and tidy. You gather very much in that, like, I don't own this place sort of way. But in the middle of the room, like just ahead of you on the ground, you see just what appears to be a small droplet that seems to be essentially like in the middle of the floor.
I kind of approach it and kneel down to inspect the droplet on the floor.
While she's doing that, Ada's going to check the pockets of the jackets.
Cool.
Fucking course.
Wait, so
just there could be a
Hugo
shiny
is
in
going
here.
to
Cool.
circle around. You said this was a 2-story building?
No, this one is a single story.
Alright, Hugo's going to walk into whatever room. You know how they have connecting rooms, like things can go in a circle in a house? The next room over that seems to be the one that someone could easily rush through without as much difficulty, he's going to walk in there.
Cool. So just like straight through the door, you're finding the next room.
Yep, I'll be in the next room just in case someone tries to bum rush, because from what I remember, Eric has not specified that there is anyone here, apart from like anyone. So I'm just gonna all right, people are here. Next room, prevent them from charging.
Yep. So you duck into the next room. Ada, as you start to go through the
And it's not actually for shinies, it's actually to get any clues of like, if these people were important, why this room, why this house, kind of thing.
You going through as you start to go through the pockets, Eric, you make your way over and towards this small spot on the ground. You very quickly recognize as you get closer, it is blood. And as you look off, as you sort of take a moment, you look around the rest of the room, and the rest of the room is seems fairly neat and tidy. There's like a couple of things on the table, like a small coffee table that seem to be knocked over. But beyond that, it's pretty schmick. As you turn to the left, you see the door next to you seems to be just ajar. As far as you can tell, looking through, you see tiles, and you gather that it's a bathroom. But you see at the bottom of the door, like right at the corner of the door, there's more blood.
I make my way like fairly quickly now to the bathroom, just in case that person could still be alive.
Cool.
Or whatever I'm potentially dealing with. Did I sense a person?
You did, yes.
I did. Okay, person.
As you rush forward, you push the door open, and you stop. In this moment, as you see in the far end of the room, essentially in this shower, slumped against the wall, disheveled, bloodied, essentially like torn open in several places, like heavy bruises across his body. You see a young elven man lying slumped, eyes closed, in the corner of the room. And that's where we're going to take a quick break.
The cliffhangers.
What are my people doing?
I have a question, though. I have a question.
No questions.
I
No
have
questions.
Tease.
We will go and get our freaking Riot.
Riot. Riot
will-
in the name of L.
We will be back in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. In fact, go get yourself some water, get yourself a snack, and we'll be back very soon with more Echoes of Ragnarok.
And Riot in the chat. Riot.
Yes, Riot in the chat. Scream.
Damn emojis.
Tell all of your friends about this riot. Do it right now.
Emojis.
We'll be back soon. How's it going, everybody? We hope you're enjoying this episode of our TTRPG adventure, Echoes of Ragnarok. If you'd like to catch one of our live streams, we stream sessions live on Twitch every second Thursday at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Time. On the other Thursdays, you can usually catch me on the same channel at the same time, playing some video games, doing some art, or just hanging with all of you lovely people. Now, before we jump back into the action, I would like to just take a moment to shout out our channel affiliates, starting with Green Ronin. Now, Green Ronin are best known for the adventure game engine, or or Age system, which boasts an impressive array of fantastic system sourcebooks. As well as Fantasy Age, which is the system that we use for the Echoes of Ragnarok stream, you can find Modern Age, Blue Rose, and Dragon Age, yes, that Dragon Age, among many, many more. And if you'd like to get your hands on any of the Green Ronin sourcebooks or resources, you can use the code METALGM on checkout to get 5% off any order through the Green Ronin web store. Also, if you're looking for some awesome software and toolkits to make your own immersive TTRPG maps, then you need to check out our channel affiliate Arkenforge. With Arkenforge, you can make awesome TTRPG battle maps to fit a range of game themes and settings, which can be easily exported for use both in your in-person games or for your favorite virtual tabletop platform. And right now, you can use the code METALGM to get $5 off the Arkenforge toolkit and start making your own TTRPG maps. But with that all said, let's get back to the action. And welcome back, everybody. So, jumping back into the game. So Eric, you enter into the bathroom. There is blood everywhere. There is a lot happening here. You see in the corner, basically in the shower, there's this slumped elven body. These rather, sort of nice clothes torn open. He is beaten. He is cut open in certain areas. He is looking very rough and is not moving.
The way you're describing it more as an it rather than a he, I'm assuming he's dead, but Eric will make his way over him very quickly, check a pulse, and then just, if he is dead, he will then just start to examine him and kind of try to deduce how he died specifically. And
cool.
If there's stuff that's missing, what did they take?
Roll me a medicine check or a intelligence.
Intelligence, baby.
I'll remember what it was.
Smart.
I am very smart pants.
What's healing under?
Healing goes under intelligence.
Why am I not seeing it here? There it is. Yes, so roll me a healing check, please.
Cool. I do not have healing, so I'm just going flat intelligence. Let's go. That is 15.
15. Straight away, as you approach him, feeling over, he is growing cold. He is at this stage, and you can tell, essentially, from as you approach him, even before you reach and, feel his pulse, you see, the slight blue tint to his lips, to his fingertips, he is dead.
Yeah.
As you sort of look over him, there's a lot of, you quickly realize that there is a lot of pre-mortem? Is that the word?
Post-mortem.
No.
Pre-death.
There's a lot of pre-death injuries here. It looks
okay.
So essentially gathering from this, this is not and from the looks of it, this was not, most of these were not a fight. This man, this has been going on. This went on for a while. From what you can tell, it appears, looking over him, you very quickly realize that the, shall we say, the death blow was clearly a blade to the chest, essentially.
All right. Cause of death, blade to the chest. And it also seemed like this was something of this lasted for a while, so this was almost, I won't say methodical because that sounds too calculating, because from what I can see it looks like it's just straight up savagery. He suffered for a while before he died.
You looking over we're not looking over all the wounds seem to be, same age. Like, there's not, there's nothing here that seems to have, shall we say, cluttered. Like, everything's, all the wounds are fairly fresh. But there are signs here of things that you would not be able to do with someone fighting back. There are, this man was tortured, essentially.
Can I stick my head in?
You can, yes.
What color are his wrists and ankles? Is there any discoloration?
Yeah, was he tied?
Yeah. By the looks of it, as far as you can tell, he was bound. Like, he was essentially like hands and feet tied.
Does he have bruising on his neck?
No.
I'm gonna do a sweep. I'm gonna do a sweep of the. I'm gonna do a sweep of the house while you deal with this shit. I'm gonna go look around the house.
Cool. You go and start to look around the rest of the house. Ada.
Treading on my tiptoes.
Mm-hmm. Going through his pockets, like going through the jackets and various sort of pieces of clothing that are hung up along the doorway, you find a couple of gambling stubs. You find Olga's calling card, along with the calling card of like several other girls from around Vartengard. You find a small, essentially like a small leather book. You find 5 silver coins. And there is a, in one of them you find this small, it's almost like a token or a badge. It sort of seems to have a family crest on one side of it, what looks like it could be sort of like a signet or a crest.
Ada will remove all the evidence of any of her people.
Mm-hmm.
And take the crest, just in case she needs that at a later date. Go and have a look at the body.
Cool.
And this place was like an Airbnb style vibe, wasn't it? So it wasn't definitely his place.
No. Like, as you enter into the room, I'd imagine, having been in these sorts of things once or twice in your time, like, very quickly recognize this is, as one might call it, a courtesy of Vartengard. Like, this is a room that a living residence that was would be provided to international or interstate guests, shall we say.
Does this person look like they were beaten up by, like, someone who was owed money, or does it look ritualistic in nature?
No, it looks like if you would say, it doesn't look in any way cultish.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look like someone's been. It doesn't look in any way sort of like there's no sigils, there's no markings. It is just someone's taken a knife. Someone's essentially punched him. As far as I can say, someone has punched him to the point that he stopped responding, and then taken out a knife. And then, so it's escalation, shall we say.
Mm-hmm. So she'll take one of the gambling slips, just in case, to see if there's a link back to the people who may have been involved in that. And then do a quick search in that main area and see if there's, like, again, this is fantasy Airbnb stuff and things that don't belong, like that might be his actual personal or someone who committed this had left behind kind of thing.
Cool. So, can you and Hugo both give me a perception check, please?
Sure. Also, Ada's going to close the door, the front door,
Yeah.
and invite
as-
Ola in.
You know, Olag, as you notice as he enters, basically like almost has to like dip his head to get through the door, and you suddenly realize that he is a good like head and shoulders above you as he steps through and looks around, and he takes this deep sort of yes, that makes sense.
Sorry, that was me.
He dips his head around the corner to look in to where Eric is, as he leans forward and says, "Is he gone?"
Yeah, wounds are only starting to clot. Probably dead for about maybe in the last hour or so. When did you stop? You said mentioning something of music or something like that?
Yes. This one's melody ended not 2 hours ago. I heard it. It was discordant, rough, unpracticed. But there's something odd. Like he wasn't meant to be here. Or perhaps he was meant to be someone else.
Well, whoever did this definitely tried to make this birdie sing. Whether they actually told him the tune they wanted, that is up for debate. But it looks like he died trying.
Olag straightens up again, turns to Ada and says, "I like this one. He makes sense." Then sort of walks through to the rest of the house, just sort of peering around. You notice he is looking around the room, though he doesn't seem to be looking at anything. He's almost looking like he's looking at things that aren't there or looking for something almost in the air around him in an odd way. What did we get for the perception checks?
14.
Got to add some numbers. I got double sixes.
Perception, that's right. We get to add things.
That's right. I've got things to add.
I have skills. What is this?
You can do stuff. Do things.
Oh my god.
Revolutionary.
Perception. That is a 15.
Is it stretching the friendship to use seeing one more time?
I would say in this moment, because in my mind, like, that's the thing, the idea of there being seeing and searching. Seeing,
yeah,
I would say seeing is much more like I'm trying to like scan a crowd. Searching is like I am in a room looking for things.
Investigation, perception.
Yeah.
I'm being a cheeky bastard. So it's 16, and with and I would like to use I thought I had one that it would be really useful, and then I realized. I want to receive a +1 bonus to further tests to examine things in the house until the venue changes using the object of your attention.
Object of my attention, yes. Cool. Sorry, Hugo, what did you get?
15.
15, cool.
Yes, 15.
So what are you looking for again?
I'm looking for scrape marks on the floor around furniture.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if someone was pushed into a couch, there would typically be a small scrape mark. Usually, like, dust would gather, but it would move it out of the way. Things that have been Interrupted? No. Things that have been messed with in ways that people typically don't. So I'm looking for signs of a struggle.
Mhm.
And then probably on the corpse's knuckles, I'll want to check to see if his knuckles are split
Mhm.
or if his knuckles are bruised in any way.
So, looking over the looking around the room at first, as when you sort of enter in, as Eric's looking over the body. Looking over the room, you notice that the couch, actually no. You notice, like, as I said, like, there's not much in the living room. As you find your way into the bedroom, you find the bed sheets are, like, tousled, almost like, sort of scattered. There are almost like, it looks, the way the pattern of the top sheet, shall we say, like, or the fitted sheet sort of moves, you gather that something was dragged, like it's
Pulled towards one end.
pulled towards the foot of the bed, towards the door. You also notice, in a similar way, in the middle of the bed, there is a very small dark spatter. Very much as you, like, leaning over to inspect it, it is like semi-dried blood in this just sort of spatter across the middle of the bed.
I'm going to follow out from the bed. How far is it to the bathroom?
It is, like, straight across the hall.
Alright, so straight across the hall, I'm going to check for... You know how you stab a knife into something and it leaves a small indent?
Mm-hmm.
Do I see any of those across the floor or walls?
No.
Okay, so he's most likely been stabbed while he was in the bathroom, dragged, struggled. He was asleep when they got to him. Most likely stabbed him to probably put him in shock or incapacitate him in some way, get him in there, and then probably get him into the bathroom to do that. It's easier to clean up.
Going into... As you look at them in the bathroom, you see his knuckles are not... his knuckles are clean. Like, they are...
no fight in him.
No fight. I'll say, doing the usual checks along with Eric, and with Eric's healing check, and just sort of check him, you do find, you find skin under his fingernails. But there is no... You also, looking over this man, and especially as a, how would you put it, a hardened workman, shall we say? This is not a warrior by any stretch of the imagination. This is, as you would call it, as you would call him, as you might say,
this is a bitch.
Barely a man. Like, this is a very, like, you gather, like, his hair is, smooth and silky, and this, like, it's scattered at this moment, but it is, as far as you can tell, smooth and silky. His skin that isn't bruised looks like porcelain. His fingernails are manicured. He is a very pretty, elegant, fancy man.
Fuck this guy.
He's an heir.
Yeah. He is, yeah.
He's a Nepo baby.
As, Ada, as you look over the rest of the house, Oleg is sort of moving around and looking in a similar way, though he doesn't seem to be touching anything. As you sort of, like, search through a few of the drawers, you find a few pieces. You find a what appears to be like essentially like a small leather folded up satchel, or like a what do you call it, like a binder, or yeah. Along with it, there's a small case And yeah, it just generally seems.
Does it look like there was more than just him who would have been in residence of this property?
From
Because
what,
he's saying that it should have been somebody else, like, from what Olag said. She's just like, did they get the wrong target?
I was thinking that
And
too.
because Olga was saying that a lot of them weren't going back to the house, and this one did go back to the house.
looking over everything that you've found, like looking over everything you've found, like it doesn't seem like this is a one-person house. If there was anyone else here, they would have had to have been, essentially sleeping in a double bed, which would either make them very good friends or partners. And you do not see, as far as you can tell, there's one suitcase. There's there's a fair amount of clothes, but they all seem to be for the same person, shall we say.
They were definitely just roommates.
Oh my god.
Alright.
Can't resist.
Some out-of-town lord's son barely touched anything with his hands. He's got baby hands. Someone came at him in the night. Oleg feels like something was out of place here. And this was done. He could have killed him in the bed. He didn't. He dragged him out by the looks of the sheets, and then he dragged him into the bathroom.
Limit the mess.
Yeah, but does that mean they're going to come back to clean it up? The door was locked when we got here, so they didn't want anyone interrupting the corpse.
What the things with Sigablood, they wouldn't be checking this place for a while.
Yeah, so someone might be coming. Not the people who own the building, but the people who did the crime. Most likely they'll be coming back at some point.
Maybe, or they would bet on him decomposing enough by the time the festivities were over. Ada, did you find anything? He looks like a noble brat of some kind. Do you happen to know where he might be from?
I think someone who could tell me possibly who else he was hanging out with.
That sounds good. Then we can put an ID on this Thrando here.
And maybe some places that he's been with the betting stubs.
Someone wanted him dead. Or at least wanted something from him.
Ada does the get a cloth. Don't know how fingerprints work in this techno fantasy world.
They don't.
Okay, but it doesn't worry about it.
Before
I think we should lock the door.
You know that anyone who would have the ability to track you due to fingerprints would have the ability to track you just from you being here. Unless you had some form of, like, arcane shielding, essentially.
Or fire.
Or fire.
burn it down. Burn it all down.
No evidence.
Fire cleanses all. Sorry.
All right, Vulcan.
I don't know if there's anything much more here to look at. This poor soul, I think we need to...
Get the fuck out of here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before Eric leaves, he was probably just, if the guy's eyes is potentially still open, he's just gonna close them and just whisper to himself. May warmth follow you into the cold, and may hell hold you like home. And then he gets up and he walks away.
As you stand up, there is a brief moment as you think maybe you stood up a bit too quickly. As a sort of whoop, as
I need to drink more water.
as you sort of pause and like just sort of let yourself be still for a moment, there is that same shallow waft of cold air across the back of your neck. As you turn around, there's a brief, again, that brief startling moment as Olaug is sort of like leaning down to looking down at the body in this difficult to read expression that you can only, I say, hope is almost sort of like a grief or remorse sort of look. But his eyes rise up to you. He says, "She was not your fault."
What?
He smiles. And he says, "The one who wails in your melody, the one who adds a sorrowful tune to the aperture of your life, she was not your fault."
I know. It was someone else's. And I push past and just walk a bit more briskly and much more annoyed outside. Like, kind of taking just... Yeah, he's out of there.
Olaug sort of straightens up. So he looks around. He turns to Ada. He says, "Did we find anything?"
It was very clean and efficient. Professionally done. Blocked picked. I'm gonna try and find out who he was hanging out with before, to see maybe if they followed the wrong target. But it seems a lot of effort to stage a whole thing just to murder one noble kid.
It does.
An exceeding amount of effort.
He turns and looks back at the room. He says, "It's an odd silence, it seems. But we'll see." Now, you said you had leads. What have you found?
Some contacts of mine that I know he'd had contact with. And, betting stubs. Boy likes to gamble. But it still seems too neat. That seems too neat. Noble boy goes out, does some gambling, pisses the wrong people off. They come and give him the what for.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't get money back from a dead boy. No, he's worth too much. They could have exploited it further if they really wanted. And again, 3 of men of a gang dead. And attacking the pub of one of the most influential people in the lower part of the city. Bringing great heat upon you for this one boy. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
Unless his father did something.
Though, that one drop of blood that Eric found.
Yeah, the boy had skin under his nails. So he may not have fought back in any manly way. But he probably did manage to scratch the bugger. Enough to bleed. By the looks of things. It wouldn't be the arm if he scratched him. He would have had to go for the face. There's a lot of meat you can get through thin tissue too. So they're probably looking for someone with a scratch across their face. What? I know stuff. Don't judge me.
You do know stuff, Hugo. That's why you always come along.
What color was the skin under that under the boy's nails?
It seemed just like fairly like it was like Caucasian.
Okay, so it was pale.
Yeah, pale.
Yeah, so we're looking for someone who with a they're pale of skin, they're not dark.
Wasn't me. Wasn't me. I didn't do it.
No, this is way too much effort for you, Eric. Too meticulous as well. I saw how long
very
you took
meticulous.
I saw how long you took with that lock getting in here. Like, he would have seen you coming.
Kick you in the nads if I didn't leave the house already.
And the particular people who started the fight down in the city, their skin was a funny color. They didn't seem right of mind. But they also didn't, these two examined them and it didn't seem to correlate with any drugs that we knew.
The
or
Razor
any
Runner
magic.
gang.
Yeah.
Low
So-
level. I smell a mystery. You know what happens with a mystery? There's money.
Perhaps. No. I think we need more information on this. If you wouldn't mind. Apologies. I find myself slightly vexed by this predicament. You understand. You bind yourself to your gods as I bind myself to mine. And there is a natural order that must be maintained. And this seems to damage and throw off that harmony. Any information that you could provide me would be much appreciated.
Let us know where we can contact you once we find out. For a favor, of course.
Of course. I am staying currently at the Draka. I was apparently, while fortunately, absent from tonight's events. But I will be there if you need me, or you speak with Joanna, she can leave a message for me, of course. Thank you.
Enjoy
Cousin.
your evening. Day, cousin.
Turns,
Yeah, no, too right, mate.
turns and like bows his head to you again and like strolls out slowly. Like strolls past you, Eric, as he bows his head to you as well. Continues walking.
Eric gives him a curt nod in return. Agitated, but still respectful.
I lean my head back like.
Oh.
Well, that was absolutely creepy.
Should I even bother? I'm trying to lock up the place, or
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
It was locked up when we got here. If they come back, they find out that people have been messing with it, they're going to be onto us. Lock it back up, please.
all right, all right. Eric locks the place back up and looks at Ada. It's like, so, one of your girls, I assume, has information about corpse.
Yes, they do.
Well then, I guess we better go talk to one of your ladies, eh?
Indeed.
Perfect. Let's go.
Perfect.
All right, we head to Ada's place of business, I guess, or wherever Ada leads us for this.
Yeah. Eric is weirdly looking a bit more skittish, like he's looking over his shoulder just a bit more often than usual. Just and
Ada-
that shook him a little bit.
Ada takes the non-direct route home.
Every few times Eric looks away, Hugo's just gonna like put a little click on the other side of his head, or a large pang in the middle of nowhere after like 10 minutes.
Son of a what the bloody hell is wrong with you?
A lot.
Oh, should I list chronologically or alphabetically?
Alphabetically, typically. It's just easy to get through things. Chronologically, we got to go back to the whole backstory. You don't want that.
That is a thing for another time.
Give it a couple years, it'll come around.
So you make your way back to Ada's base of operations. Ada, what does this building look like?
There's like the base of operations, and then there's more of a reception place. This is the actual base. This is like a very cool set out warehouse with lots of like almost like a rabbit warren in a really weird way, and it's like this really weird community house in a way where that she actually has everyone has access to. It's Ada's justification of like
It's a share house.
terrifying, yeah, terrifying murder and socialism for her people. You know, there's just like a room with spare clothes and stuff in it, and there's like anything the kids need, and there is like an old cook who's literally there cooking stuff during the day, etc. And you know, it's altruism, but still a bit dodgy because you know she gets some of these kids join her because of all these things that she offers. She doesn't have any expectations that any of them will, but
Communism.
she's the cool gang of socialism.
Cool. So
And then there are some areas that do seem a little bit more set up and a bit nicer. But that's more for the high performers.
So you enter into this building. There's this large, I'd say it was like sort of semi like ramshackle, like looking like there's been areas that have been divided off again and again as more people have joined in, essentially. There are a number of people sort of wandering around. The main one that seems to wander out is this quite small, scrawny, quite wiry looking boy. He's got sort of fairly wild hair, and this very unsettling stare as you walk in, and is just sort of watching the three of you approach. As he You see him give Ada the sort of this like half sort of thumbs up sort of thing, which is sort of Ada is very much like the all good sort of symbol. He nods and just turns around and sort of just shuffles off over to the wall again. Where are you headed?
She keeps a second eye out for Weaver.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's not where he's supposed to be. And she will go back later and ask Redisok to try and find him, because they know when someone is missing from the flock for too long, and that's part of the protection racket. She has that she does. But she kind of takes the guys to the main eating area and asks them to wait there for one moment, and then wanders off to what it looks like a little bit more expensive doors and kind of just knocks on Olga's parlor / room.
I also imagine, of all the people in your area, besides you, Olga has like the most set up room.
I'm holding my coin pouch, by the way.
Yeah, actually.
Before I even walked in the door, my hand was on my coin pouch. My other hand has a hammer in it.
I think Eric's gonna just pocket his needle wand in his pocket, just that should keep it safe.
Yeah.
Ada watches them start to freak out once they get in there. She's not going to tell them that the rule is you don't steal inside the facility, because you don't steal from your own.
Yeah.
But she just enjoys
continental.
You let us know that?
You'd know.
No.
You don't.
So I would like to specify, because I've been planning this for the last few sessions. My coin purse at the moment is currently hidden somewhere else, which I will tell Dragyn where it is. I'll send him a message. My current coin pouch has a bunch of sharp shavings in it from when I was working.
Love that.
Yeah, you don't shit where you sleep, right? So I'm not going to tell you that. She just enjoys watching you guys going.
So you approach this doorway. It's a fairly large, well set door. As you approach, before you have even entered the room, there is a very rich smell of various incense and spices and a very heavily perfumed air just around this door. You knock, and it now being, an hour or so after you left the room, as you approach the door, the other two maybe not, but Ada, you definitely hear the from inside.
Olga currently being voiced by Dragyn's dog.
Yes.
Hell of a roll.
Yeah.
This time it's a bang.
Yeah. There's a bang. There's immediately just this.
She says it quietly, so none of the guests can hear. And she says, Linnea, I need to speak with you.
There's a shuttle. There's a shuffle and a thud from inside. As you hear a number of locks and chains under, and the door pops open. There's a much stronger waft of this heavily perfumed air that pops out as the vision of Love's young dream appears in the crack of the door. There is just this tousled brown hair off to one side, this makeup half removed, half smeared, and there's this sort of squinted stare at you as she's looks over the three of you and goes, Alright, but I'm still charging double for the short one.
Fuck you. I told you this place is suspicious. Look how many bloody locks she's got.
One of your Johns is dead from last night. Or at
Look,
least they had your card in their pocket.
look, I'm good, but I'm not that good.
No, I don't think you did it, darling. I just need some information. You have 5 minutes. If you could come and sit down and have a chat with us, please.
Just give me a moment to fix my face.
And then you can have the day off.
Oh, well, you should have led with
Because
that.
I need you to lay low.
She closes the door, and you hear the sounds of, like, the light click on, and then she starts to, the sound of cluttering as she moves around her sort of makeup and other bits and bobs.
If we needed to make this quick, I got paint thin in my pocket. I could just throw it on her face.
You don't spend a lot of time around women, do you?
What do you think?
I can confirm he does not.
What can you confirm?
The amount of times you're at my clinic.
You're a man?
I feel like at this point he
That's a
just gives you a
woman?
tab.
That's a woman?
He just thinks Eric has been like doing weird, like just a weird drag because like
I was
women can't be
honestly-
doctors or something.
I was honestly confused about... No, it makes sense, actually. No. Hugo, canon-wise, Hugo definitely knew. He's just messing about.
Returning to sort of one of the seating areas, eventually you hear the door click open again, and this, this woman walks out. Hair much more managed at this stage, though it's still sort of a, just sort of brushed and over one shoulder. She's wearing something like this, very long drapey gown, fairly simple, of like this sort of deep brown and green. She comes over and sits down in front of you, crosses her legs, gives a sort of nod to the two of you. Ada, you recognize... Ada, sorry, I just quickly say, Ada, you recognize that she is doing her, like, reserved natural look makeup. She is still heavily caked. she
Looks around. Damn right she is.
double hammed up on a Tuesday.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I'm not.
Something you said stuck out to me before you went to sleep tonight about how many guards had been pulled away from the upper quarter.
Mm.
And we went to have an investigate and found an heir's son dead in the bathtub. Your calling card and several others, I took any of our people's names out of there, were in his pockets, as well as some betting slaps. She just puts them on the table and puts out his thing, and then she'll describe what he looks like. But you told me that they were all spooked and nobody wanted to go home, but for some reason this one did.
Oh, yes. No, Leif's dead?
Leifstead.
She looks and she's like, he was the cute one. You know how I love the shy ones.
You love the shy, innocent ones, I know.
They're just so fun to play with. They don't... That poor boy.
Eric is slightly getting uncomfortable.
Hugo also slightly getting uncomfortable. No, visibly getting uncomfortable.
But were you guys at this gambling house? It just seems very odd that someone would get the Razors to attack the Draco for one heir's son. It doesn't make any sense. Over possibly a gambling debt? Again, doesn't make sense.
No, I didn't. Actually, he didn't. He gambled a little bit, but he went home early. He wasn't. He was very out of his depth. He caused it got sad. I was toying with him and he would get blushy, but then he would just be catatonic. He'd do nothing. He was completely like a fish out of water. I don't know how, like, how do they say it? His hair's still wet from the wound, darling.
Did he come with anyone, or was he hanging out with anyone? Hugo. He just gets like...
Thank you.
You said it, not me.
She turns and looks, is like, no, he wasn't with anyone. But there was something that Goodney said that I couldn't help but notice as well. It was a figure in the corner. Just seemed your usual human random person until he was pointed out, because he showed up about the same time. But then he seemed to leave pretty promptly after Leif left. Oh, that poor boy.
Did anyone else there know Leif or know of Leif? He said he was very naive and went behind the ears. Did he appear to actually be who he said he was?
Yes. No, he's from what I got from him, and from what I gathered from the others, it seems he was, he's a merchant son from Iliaborg. I gather the others were saying that it seemed to be his father sending him here to learn the ways of the world, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, by the seams of it, he may have gotten a bit of a closer encounter than he counted for.
So they appeared to just be a normal human?
I didn't get a good look at him. Wasn't really paying attention. It was only when Goodney pointed him out that I really even remembered. I remembered odd. He didn't order anything. He just showed up, same time as Leif. And then suddenly Leif was gone, and so was he. I thought he was some kind of bodyguard or something.
Did you have any defining descriptions, like blonde, eye color, tattoos, scars even?
He was blonde. That's all I really remember. As I said, I didn't really... I just figured he was some kind of security detail.
I'll follow up with Gundi and see if she noticed anything. She kept you safe otherwise?
Yes, of course. Always
How long
does.
was he there?
Leif?
No, this stranger. You said he's got blonde hair, right?
Oh, yes, that man.
Was it shortcut, long, braided?
From what I remember, it was cut short. Don't fully remember. I apologize. Again, it wasn't.
Okay.
It
You were
wasn't
focused
important
on
at
the
time.
game.
It all helps.
Someone is clearly trying to frame whatever happened as something else. We might have to take a hit, but if you can tell any of the other girls that were there, I've taken all your calling cards out of his possession, but just in case, have a couple of days off.
Of course.
No need for you girls to get any extra
Oh,
focus or hassle.
It has been some nights since I've gotten some proper sleep, so suppose it will do me good.
Enjoy yourself.
Of course, always do. Will that be all?
Unless you have a need for anything.
No, a few days off will be fine. Go. She sort of stands up and gives a sort of a slight, almost mocking curtsy, like a performative curtsy, and then turns and like just sort of wanders back to bed, stretching.
Is Gundi around anywhere?
Yeah. Over in you see over at one of the sides of the bunk beds, like sort of fiddling with this small wooden box. You see Goodney.
Wave her over.
Eyes come up and she chucks the box over her shoulder as she stands up and like potters over. Yeah.
I start by giving her a tip
Hmm?
for looking after the girls.
Ah.
This shadow from last night that you
No.
noticed,
The what?
the figure in the corner that Olga said that you pointed out.
Oh, the one following the young one. Yeah.
Blonde, human.
Shortcut hair.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Anything else that you noticed about them or any other descriptors?
He walked like Radisok.
Who?
Pardon?
He but she sort of like looks over her shoulders and she's like, and she like glances around. She goes like, he did it better than Radisok.
Who the bloody hell is Radisok?
You like in this moment, as you ask the question, they get this like weird like tingling itch in the back of your neck as you turn to scratch and look over your shoulder, and there are these two like wide, icy blue eyes staring at you behind this like. As you go to swing, can you roll me an attack roll, please?
Yeah.
9 and triple threes.
Go.
Hugo is the first to hit a child.
You swing.
And it won't be the last time I do it either.
You
I have 2 fists and no problem hitting a child.
you swing. And exactly like you. As soon as you took.
I'm proficient in this, so I get a +2.
Okay.
So that's an 11.
11.
You swing, and there is a as you swing out, and you look, and the face is not there. As you look down, these eyes are looking up at you from this like crouched, like arms down, like monkey position on the ground. Before he just like gives you this sideways grin and then runs away.
Yeah, feral.
No, just him. Just
Gundy's like,
I'm drawing
just
a
him.
summary here. Like, from what I'm seeing, I got Weave and I got this guy, whoever that monkey little feral guy is that just ran off. Nah, they're all feral.
I'm sure I have a book on childhood development somewhere in my office. I could lend you it.
What would I need a childhood development book for?
I'm not talking to
having
you.
kids.
Well, I know that. You've been
That
that
was
many
private. That was private.
Radisok is merely a perfection of his own nature.
Walks like a ghost. Got it.
Actually, Gundi, have you seen Weaver?
You see, she sort of like looks around for a moment and then it's like, no. Should I have?
He was supposed to come back like early this evening and stay at home because he'd created some trouble in Fuzz.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll keep an eye out. He hasn't come back yet.
If you don't hear anything, normal procedures, let's find him.
Yeah. Okay.
So he walked like Radisok, except better. So he was a ghost.
Yeah. Like he was walking like I noticed him because I noticed he walked like Radisok, but anyone else, like everyone else, seemed to not see him. Like he was walking normal, but he was walking in the dark, like he wasn't seen. And she does like this little sort of like
Definitely an assassin.
That is fascinating.
Definitely paid. Don't know if it has a connection to the Razor Runners though, but I think we should definitely go give them a chat.
I can potentially dip into my end, see if anyone has seen anyone of that description.
It's definitely worth a try. They have eyes and ears where I don't.
Did you need anything else?
No. Again, pull some money out of the stash from the evening.
Go.
Gives her a tip.
She turns to walk away and then stops and turns back and is like, "Oh, one more thing. He did walk like Radisok, but it was weird because I don't know how I know this. I don't know why this stuck out to me, but when Radisok's carrying like 4 knives in his pants?
Yes.
He was walking kind of like that, but in a bit more like, I only noticed it because I've seen the way Radisok does it. Kind of like someone who shit their pants, but like they're trying not to show that they've shit their pants. Like, but in that way of like, if he doesn't walk a little bit like that, he's gonna,
Has none. Do you people not hear belts? Like, there's some underpants you can get with like little knife holders too. Like, what is wrong with you lot?
Oh yeah, but if the river guard find us with knives on our belts, well, we're never seen again.
But you can like get a little pair of underwear with like a little slot down between your butt cheeks or on your thighs. What is wrong with you?
Oh yeah, but we have those we have those for the thighs, but the trouble is they only make those for adults. So when Radisok wears them, the blades kind of,
So you're saying there's a market for this thing?
If you can make them.
Oh, bloody hell! But do not sell knife holders to children. I don't know why I have to say this to you.
But we can pass them
apparently
off.
I do.
Find a leather worker and we tell them that they're for gnomes and like really big gnomes.
No.
But then we can pass them off. We can get one for the youngins and I can make the knives and we can make a profit.
Oh, he's already started.
Oh, here we go.
Now.
What are your costs going to be on that?
It depends on the child.
Hey,
We've got to pay
No.
double.
I'm just trying to get a good price, Eric, if this happens.
good price. People are insane.
I'll have to get back to you based on material. But yeah,
Why would you give a child a knife?
it'll have to be a slim grip knife so it's able to be pulled out and put away easy.
This is why the people get injured so easily in this town. This is why I'm always running out of medical.
He starts pulling out
stock
pulls like a little piece of paper out of his wrist or something and just goes scribble, 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 scribble.
Oh.
Thank you, Gunter.
If one of your children come to me with a knife wound, I'm going to be very upset about it.
They already all have knives, Eric.
Yeah, this
Their
is going to be
children-
more...
You're gonna make it easier for them, though.
No, we're going to make
They're
it safe
children
for
in
them.
this
Do you not
city
want them
that
to be
need to
safe?
protect themselves. Do you understand the city that we live in?
Yes, too much, too
Okay.
well, to be honest.
They were making it safer.
That's one word for it. So,
Let's go to the Razor Runners next.
Maybe
Find
we
out if
should
they
get
have
back-
anything to do with this assassin.
I mean, we don't exactly know where they are. Like they are still pretty hidden. However, I can potentially go into my side of the fence, ask them about them and potentially where the Razors are currently held up at the moment.
Dragon, didn't you say an episode or two ago, I believe it was early on last episode, that I knew that they were in a warehouse somewhere on the outskirts?
You know that they have a base somewhere within you know that they have a base somewhere within Vartengard. Like obviously they do. Like they'd have to. You don't know where it is.
Okay.
What you do know is that much like the Varg use the Drunken Draka, or Ada has her own sort of tavern for, business, shall we say? They use a sort of this, what is a fairly rough dive bar in the industrial area known as the Crowbar, as their sort of like main point of contact.
Yep, so we need to head to the Crowbar. I knew I remembered something about it. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks like that's, that's where you get in contact with at least them, from what I can remember.
You think they want to talk to people like us?
I mean, I've given them a couple teeth, to be honest.
I'm gonna pretend like I know what that means.
They were missing teeth, and they asked for teeth, so I made them teeth. I'm not a surgeon, so I just open the mouth, put the tooth in, whack.
I'm not even going to attempt to explain how so much of that is wrong. Yep, let's go.
Made them look badass. One of them's got like a thing they called a grill.
So you, so the three of you now heading over towards the industrial district, to find the Crowbar, and the Razor Runners, making your way out.
Making our way downtown.
Walking fast, faces fast, gonna find the murderer. Da-da-da-da-da.
Well, that's where we're going to end tonight's session. Because we're done. I'm out. But
I was waiting for you to be like, "You making your way?" Is like making our way downtown.
yeah,
I was gonna say
it is
took
so
us
bad.
4 sessions to break him.
Yeah,
I'm very proud of myself.
every single time I do it, and I use that so much, and every single time I say it, I scold myself because that pops into my mind of just the bullshit. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching. We will be back in 2 weeks. So that will be the 3rd of July.
And hopefully Ulf will be back home from his walk.
Hopefully Ulf will be back home from his long walk. Oh, I've got to catch up with Frax to find out what happened on said walk.
He was probably just being like, "Life sucks. Everything sucks. I'm gonna go kill something."
Everything sucks. What happened with you, gang? Oh, we found a dead guy. Oh!
What happened with you, Ulf? Oh, I killed a guy.
But anyway,
Yes, some elf dude.
thank you all very much for watching. Be sure to check out our channel affiliates, Green Ronin and Arkenforge. Use the code MetalGM to get your discounts at checkouts, and be sure to check out the socials for our lovely guests, which will be either in the description or in the panels below. And if you're watching this on YouTube, and especially if you're from Australia, especially the eastern coast of Australia, we stream episodes live on Twitch at Heavy Metal Game Master on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Time. So you can come check out the stream, come and join us, watch the games in real time. But yes, thank you all very much for watching, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Thursday.
Thursday.